Good morning, and welcome to another SaTAROTday with Salann, one half of the Two Pondering Pagans, also known as Rook and Salann. And we are here, well, it's early. We are not here. I am here at this moment for another tarot. It's going to be an interesting one, it sounds like. All right, let's get started. Today I am going to go back to using the Runic Tarot. It is one that just, I don't know, it just really works for me. I really enjoy it lately. I still am using my steampunk quite a bit, but for other reads. But the Runic Tarot just seems to be really the right one right now. And so I've done a lot of pre-shuffling and some meditation as normal beforehand. So we're not going to waste any time today to get started. Super rainy and stormy down here where I'm at. And honestly, I want to go outside and enjoy it. Rook and I are continuing now a month and a half into our perpetual stew. And we're making our own version of gumbo this week. So I want to enjoy some of that outside this morning with this extreme wind and the rain. So we're going to make this one a little bit quicker, hopefully. Well, it'll still come out to be pretty long because I'm long-winded on everything I do. But let's get started regardless. I'm going to do a couple more shuffles. I've been shuffling quite a bit, but the way energy has been, it's good. There's a lot of swirling energies and energy shifting and changing and moving into new spaces and positive growth, growing self through shadow, which, you know, is something that we're working on diligently, and we'll be putting some videos out on that soon too. But ultimately, lots of energy changes and shifts going on, so we need to make sure things are together. I have had a very emotional week, and not even just me like having my own emotions this week, but people around me have been very emotional this week, and I've had to feel like I've been dealing with a lot of other people's stuff without pushing my own or allowing my own to come out. So that's been something I really want to see what the cards say this week and on. So now I just cut and we had a jumper here. One of horns, which would be your ace. We'll call it chalices, horns, cups. That was our jumper. So we just talked about emotions. Raw emotion. Come on. Don't make this stuff up. Can't make this stuff up. That is insane. The Knight of Pentacles. Awesome. That's going to make me feel a little bit better about everything. This is such a pretty card. The Seven of Daggers or Spears. Okay, no major arcana cards. We might pull some maybe at some point. Maybe if we pull an extra, we'll see if there is an addition to that. But ultimately, we don't have any major arcana cards, which I think is pretty cool because energies, like I said this week, haven't been like things exploding or blowing up or this super incredible craziness and all that. It's been just emotional. It's been transformative. It's had movement. It's been, you know, about just different things that are happening. And yeah, so we're just gonna have to deal with it and work through them. So let's start with putting the cards in their individual like we normally do, so we have a little bit of learning about each of the cards, right? So we're mixing in some traditional and intuitive meanings just because those kind of waffle through with me or waffle into the process. We're gonna start talking about aces. You know, when you talk about aces, just in general, any of the four aces, we're talking about the full embodiment of. Some will say the raw energy of, which is true. I agree. It definitely pulls in raw energy of whatever that specific card is. In our case, the Ace of Cups for standardization. But it also means the entirety of all that emotion, or the entirety of that suit, I should say. So we're talking about when I see an ace, I'm seeing the ace through the king. It includes all of it because it's the potential of all that, right? If you're starting with the ace, you have the potential for all of those emotions and processes to come in. So this is a very wide sweeping card. Apologize for my weird pauses. I've got hiccups this morning. But this is really about new stuff, right? You know, your new beginnings. Aces go really well hand in hand with new moons. Because they're about new beginnings, new starts, new relationships, in the Cups case anyway, new creativity, new things that are coming to mind that you really want to work on and bring into the world. So I can see this being the first card of this read because with these connections and things that have happened this week, it's required us to think outside of the box and be creative in our new interactions. And some of the emotions that we have with the Ace of Cups really talk about pulling it together or pulling it into ourselves and then really seeing it in a different manner, right? So we have incredibly stressful situations, lots of things that are going on, and we want to kind of transform them into some positivity, right? Into some creative and compassion. Well, the Ace of Cups tells you to do that. It says, hey, this is good stuff here, right? It might not feel super great all the time, based maybe on some of the other cards or what you're actually feeling, but this is the new. This is, let's make new relationships. Let's march into new processes, new compassion, new creativity. Now, I will say, we're talking about the card, the Ace of Cups, but when I talk about the read that we're doing today, and I'm looking into my mic for some reason, I don't know why. But when we talk about the Ace of Cups in the read alongside the Knight of Pentacles and the Seven of Daggers, this is different. We're going to change that meaning some, right? But we'll get into that. And then our Knight of Pentacles. I think we've talked about this before. I think the Knight of Pentacles, or any of the court cards really, are cards that represent people generally. And it could be you, it could be somebody in your life, it could be anybody. But it usually represents a person or a personality or an archetype. And with Knights, you're the second of the 4 court cards. So the Knight has finished all of their studies. They're prepared, they're ready, they have the knowledge, they are strong, they're good. They're ready to move forwards. Ready to move forward. But the Knight also doesn't really have much experience, right? It represents the I'm ready to go, I am ready to experience this, and I'm ready to go through with this. So Knights of Pentacles, which, you know, is in my, I like to say my homeland of, but my home element of earth, right? And it's really a productivity type thing. It's a you know, get out, get your gloves on and pull the weeds, right? The Knight of Pentacles is really the hardworking, deep down, let's really push through all of these things that are happening in life and really drive into something that's happening, right? Or drive into the next step in all of that work that they're getting ready to experience, to work hopefully to becoming the king and queen. But it's really important to look at it in the aspect also of the read, right? So not just the Knight of Pentacles representing hard work. It's the Knight of Pentacles representing hard work in the present situation that we're having to do, or making that this is probably work related, alongside of the Ace of Cups, where this emotion and this new creativity, this rawness is coming from. So issues at work may be arising this week or over the past week or so, and issues with emotional responses to work. Maybe you've done some really good hard work and somebody's not recognizing it, or you feel slighted about it, or you're upset about what's happening, and maybe you need recognition, or you deserve the recognition because you put in that hard work. But just remember, you do have to go through it and experience it and work through it before that recognition comes. And recognition may not come at all. Now, this read is not about recognition. This read is about us identifying the person that's doing all this hard work in life, and in the spot in the center, I generally think of that as the body, the person. So this is your hard work that you're doing. This is your engagement that you're working on, and there's some emotional surrounding it, some emotional rawness of the cups that surrounds it that you're working through. And then our Seven of excuse me, daggers or swords in most what do you call it, spreads, decks. The swords are one of the air cards usually. Now, some people do read them as fire. I've said that a few times, I know, but I just want to remind you, if you haven't seen any previous ones, a lot of people will attribute the seven to the fire element. I use the traditional air because I feel like it's that it just works for me. But this is a card that says, you know, somewhere in the next couple of days we're going to have some issues. We're going to have some concerns here. So the challenges are, you know, we're talking about emotions. We're talking about you being the hard worker in this case, or working through a process or progress of something that you're doing. Something big, small, doesn't matter. It's just you put in a lot of work into something, and it's just there's a lot of emotion surrounding it, and maybe even from other people. But the Seven of Daggers is not helping your case any. Because in the Seven of Daggers, we're talking about getting away with things that aren't appropriate or shouldn't be done, or maybe somebody's taking credit, or maybe you're taking credit for somebody else's work and not giving them full credit. A lot of times at work that happens, where, you know, you're working on a team of stuff and you're really proud of what you brought to the team, which is great. You've done all this hard work and you walk through it. But we forget to credit those that also helped, or that held us up while we did it, and all those things. So from an energy standpoint and from our weekly read standpoint, this message is a little bit harder to understand in that realm, but it's basically telling us to reiterate to ourselves that our hard work is our hard work. We don't need somebody else to tell us that it's hard work. If we're doing a lot of things at work and we're feeling emotionally drained, we need to address that, and we need to speak our mind about it, and we need to make sure that we're also giving credit to others. And you know what? If you deserve credit, ask for it. Hey, Gene, I know we'd worked on this together and you're presenting it, but make sure that you let them know I helped, because that was a lot of work. You have a right to speak up for yourself. But the thing is all of this is small beans. There's nothing here that's this massive shift or this, you know, huge falling out. So the responses are going to be fine. You just don't want to get yourself into that habit of letting those kind of things go. Just from a sharing perspective of my process, when I do these reads, I do 3 cards. I don't do them past, present, future. I don't do mind, body, spirit. It's just a 3-card draw. Now, I do pull in some of those mindsets, like, for example, thinking that the center card generally represents the body. So for me, if I'm doing a 3-card draw, that's you, not somebody outside. If that Knight of Pentacles card would have shown up in the first or the last part of the spread instead of the middle, it would have been more about the things that are peripheral, right? Because the center is you, your body, and then the left and the right cards would be the peripheral, the periphery. So that means somebody outside. That's kind of how I read that, just sharing some thoughts. And then also, if I think past, present, future, because I'm also overlaying this, again, that's not how I read the spread, but I include those processes in the decision making when I'm reading tarot. Looking at past, present, future, it's not necessarily like this happened in the past or this is happening in the future. It's the energy of the Ace of Cups started a while back and is pulling through, and then the energy of the Seven of Swords hasn't started yet, and the Knight of Pentacles energy is now. So it's not so much that it's future telling as far as that is concerned. So the Seven of Daggers, you're not feeling the betrayal, the deception, the pushback, the problem. I don't know how else to say it. You're not feeling that yet, but you're going to. That's the next energy. So we have to look out for that. So be very careful as we go through, because in this case, it feels like you may be the one that's kind of getting away with something versus somebody else getting away with something of yours. I don't think it's intentional. It doesn't seem to be intentional, but just make sure that you respect those that help you up and hold you up, and make sure that there is nobody beneath you, and that you treat people in a way that they get credit for what they do, no matter how big or small, because it will change somebody's life when you do that. So please be careful with that. So if I had to summarize this entire reading to one thing, in one message, it's all these new emotions have been swirling. We know it, we felt it. Our Knight of Pentacles is our great stability. It's our hard work and things that are happening around us. And then we're going to step into this area where we feel a little bit off kilter, something's going to hurt you, or maybe it recently just did. And you're going to have to walk through that, and you have to walk through it professionally and appropriately and positively, and it's going to be fine. Everything will work out just smoothly. So that is my read for this week. A little bit more theoretical read, and I don't know the better word for that, because it's really not theoretical. It's it was just a more abstract read, I think, this week than some of the last ones have been, and more abstract than I'm used to from the Runic Tarot. So regardless, I do hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, comments on your style of read, or anything you want to share, please make sure to write that in the comments. And if you want to see more, like and subscribe to our channel and to this video, and we will be putting these out again every week. Hopefully soon, Rook will be putting out some of his own in place, so we'll be kind of sharing this responsibility at this point. But again, thank you very much. Hope you have a great day.